Hi, it's Walter again. I'm the Dutch mentor. It's great to be here. It's Monday afternoon. We'll continue our 12-week series on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, and my YouTube channel. This week's topic is going to be on the building an individual development plan. So one of the things that I strongly advocate for is that everybody should dream big. But if you dream big and you want to get to that big dream, you need to learn how to act small. And that concept is often lost on people. People sit around and they procrastinate. People sit around and say that, I'll get there when I get there. Sadly, is that 80, 90% of the people will never get to even the first or second level of their big dream simply because they don't take actions. And I've learned something along my career path, and as I now have worked with hundreds of others, the key to reaching your big dream, and of course that big dream can change as time progresses, is to measure, is to really understand what is it that you want to accomplish. What is step number one, two, three, four, five? You cannot do all five at the same time. You cannot even do three effectively at the same time. But if you pick the right one to work on first, and then once you have that completed and sustained through measurement and new habits and behaviors, you can go on to the next one, to the next one, and the next one. And then you can truly see amazing things take place. So I'm going to lay out the basic concepts of a individual development plan today. And with that, I'd be more than happy to share with you my individual development plan that I have generated for the Dutch Mentor. If you would like that, send me an email at thedutchmentor@gmail.com. I'll send it to you directly with some additional instructions. But again, individual development plans are, they vary from institution to institution. And I really hope that in time, this will be the vehicle on which we are going to be basing performance evaluations. So anybody who's met me in the past, I will tell you outright, I would take performance evaluations and throw them in the garbage. They are worth absolutely nothing. It's an exercise that we keep doing year after year, and it is a complete waste of time. Now, why do I say that? It's because we take these evaluations, we pick up metrics that we put in the previous year, we dust them off, we do a quasi evaluation, and then we make more promises for next year. And we put them back into the same file where they came from, not to look at it again for 12 more months. And the performance evaluation is owned by your boss, by your manager. And it is rarely used effectively. Now, are there people who use them effectively? Of course there are. But I can promise you the vast majority of the people are not using performance evaluations for what they are supposed to do. So if you are in high potential, high performing, or somebody who says, listen, my intrinsic value states that I want to continue to grow and I want to be developed, I want to be challenged, then you cannot sit on your laurels and wait for an invitation for you to come join the party. You have to take action on your part. And the way to do that is by adopting an individual development plan because that is owned by you. All right, so this is owned by the employee. It becomes your key communication tool up the chain to your mentor, to your peers, to your boss. And if you do this well, it will undoubtedly help accelerate you in your career progression. And of course, it very much depends on where you start. But if you lay out the plan well, it will absolutely help you. And again, why is that? Because you own it. Of course, the secret is this: if you don't get anywhere, all you need to do is to look in the mirror because then you did not do the homework. You did not do the work. You did not take the actions required to take the small steps that lead to bigger outcomes. Like anything else, in order to start somewhere, and then let's say we're going to take a journey from New York to Los Angeles, the first question we have to ask ourselves, do I want to fly a straight direct flight? Do I want to fly with multiple stops, or do I want to take the slow, more scenic route and go by car? So leadership is not about a straight path from the bottom to the top. Do we have people who have done that? Absolutely. Are they great leaders? Rarely. Leadership is about getting deep experience across the entire value stream. That's the crooked road, the spiral, left, right, up, down. And along the way, you hit a bunch of bumps in the road. Sometimes you have to make a lateral position. Sometimes you get laid off, you have to go a lower position. Sometimes you get into a position that is really beyond your capabilities. Sometimes you get trapped and you need to free yourself and find a new line within your purpose, so to speak. Your individual development plan can be set up in such a way you have continuous check marks to where you are on your journey and how you're progressing from point A to point B to point C, with the final determination, the outcome determination of your big dream. Now, again, I want to reiterate, your big dream can change. Right? I've changed my big dream 3 times in my life, and that is perfectly fine. And likely when I get closer to retirement, I probably will set it one more time to make my big dream my retirement and what that could look like. But it starts by setting a simple goal. What is it? What is your big dream? What is it that you want to learn? What is it that you feel most driven about? I use the 4 P's. What is your true purpose and passion? That's on the heart level. And which organization and which people do you want to work with? Right? Those are really telling and very, very powerful. Scary statistic is 78% of the people go to work every day not really liking what they do. And that is a complete waste of our time. 40 years of our adult life are going to be working. Could you imagine doing all of your life something that you don't feel truly fulfilled by? Now, I understand that we have to put food on the table. I understand that we have to go out and hustle. Nothing wrong with that. But you should also do yourself a favor, is that as you hustle, as you make money, as you put food on the table, never give up your search for finding the right role for you. So after you have established your why, your big dream, we want to be able to say, okay, what are the small steps we need to take in order to be able to get closer to the final outcome that reaches really that sense of purpose for yourself. And in that part that we want to understand, what are the skills, the knowledge, and the abilities, and what is the gap to where I am today to where I want to go tomorrow? And that is really, really important, right? So my recommendation is always, what position do you want to go into? Then go on Indeed or something equivalent, or LinkedIn, and go find people in those positions and lay down on a piece of paper or an Excel all of the things that are required, all the things that are requested and preferred for that particular position. Now, once you do that with 2 or 3 of them, and you have some common paths between the positions, then compare that to you. Do the gap analysis to where you are today, to where people need to be in order to be in the best possible position to get the next job. So once you understand your why, and once you understand your gaps and skills, knowledge, and abilities, now you can go to work. So what I recommend the 70-20-10 approach. The 70-20-10% approach sticks with you a little bit more. That 70% of our learning is in our current role while we are working and performing in our current role. We're going to be expanding it to new things and new exposures. Now, that sounds simple, but it's a little bit harder because often your boss, right, if they don't know what it is, they will be resistant to you by going to one of their meetings. But if you have the individual development plan and you have had a good discussion heart to heart with him or her, and there's alignment around that, often if you do this well, your boss will be the pathway to the next level, meaning they will give you time to develop while in your current role itself. 70% of the IDP is focused on learning on the job in its current, in the current situation, plus expanding it, right? If you want to go one level up, what does that look like? The second part of that is having a coach and a mentor. So we know for a fact that nobody's going to go to the Olympics in Paris in 2024 without having a good coach and mentor. Why would you? Why would you not have a good coach or a mentor, somebody that is going to be able to help and assist you? And then the age-old question comes to me as well, do I need to pay for a mentor? Or do I need to have somebody that is for free? In other words, another peer or a friend. So I say you have to make a distinctively different approach and assessment between the two. And this is it. A friend, a colleague, peer, coach, mentor is somebody that you have to listen equally to what they have to say about their personal lives as you get to share about your personal lives. It's an understanding, it's a dialogue, it's a friendship. If you have a coach or mentor that you pay, the expectation is not for the coach or mentor to be sharing his or her life story, but instead spend 100% of their time, because that's what you are paying for, on your progress that you're making. And that could be around areas of self-awareness and self-development, making process improvements, or establishing an operational rhythm. But not having a coach or a mentor, somebody to work with, will definitely put you at a disadvantage. So take that to heart as an opportunity for yourself. And the last 10% is about more formal education, meaning that you should do the gap analysis to assess where you are today. What is it that you want to do? And go back to that CV and look at the requirement section. If they say a master's degree required and you don't have a master's, well, then you know what you need to do. One of your first goals need to be is getting enrolled into a master's degree program, right? Some will say this, it's preferred that you have a FATSI credential. It's not required, it's not mandated, but it's preferred. But if they say that, that means that they see value in that credential. So you better go on the path of becoming a FATSI. And that means that there's a journey, right? It's not something you can go to the store and buy off the shelf by just putting money up. You actually have to take time to study, develop yourself, and then be able to go out and take a very, very complicated test in order to be able to complete that. So that is how you get to the end. Now, none of this matters if you don't develop your roadmap. So you want to write down what your why is. You want to write down your skills, knowledge, and abilities, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, right? And understand where your gaps are, that self-awareness. And then it is about, the 70% on-the-job learning. What do you want to learn? Right? How can you grow and develop? What is it? Who's going to be my coach? What do I want out of that relationship? And, where do I want to go to school in order to get the certification or this degree? Once you write down what it is that you want to do, now you want to say, how am I going to measure my success against that goal? And this is where it often falls apart. We say we're going to do, we might even start doing it, we might even go into it for the first couple of months, and then we get distracted. We have a vacation, another emergency happens, something happens along the way, and you stop measuring the change. And if you don't measure, you're less likely to succeed, times 80% or more. Right? So 80% of the people who have a vision who don't measure their results are going to fail or come well short of their objective. Of course, they might not tell you about that, but that's a fact. So don't be like that. So again, 70, 20, 10, take the goals, write them out, decide how you want to measure this, and then hold yourself accountable to that measure on a weekly basis. And I use the red, yellow, green technique that if I didn't do anything, it's a red. It tells my brain that I screwed up and I need to do better. If it is yellow, it's a warning. Well, I did something, but not to the fullest extent. But if I give myself that green, I can have a little bit of that feel-good measure, the feel-good medicine, because I know I met or exceeded the expectation. And if you see green 10 weeks in a row, you're starting to go through a change of creating a new normal. And that's the ultimate outcome that you desire. So that is the overarching program of purpose of having an individual development plan. That is based on your why, the what, and the how. It is taking meaningful actions to an end goal in a measured environment is going to allow you to accelerate this and likely put you in a good position for promotion down the line. So with that said, I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll open some questions for those who are participating in the call today.